The boiling point, that's the subject of tonight's Water's Words. Governors better start lifting these lockdowns. People aren't going to take it anymore. There's a rebellion brewing. Remember how the Tea Party got started? The battle cry over the bailouts, Rick Santelli from the floor of the stock exchange?
This is America. How many of you people want to pay for your neighbor's mortgage that has an extra bathroom and can't pay their bills? Raise their hand.
How about we all?
President Obama, are you listening?
The same energy is out there today. You can feel it. Here's Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports, not a political guy, putting into words the way you feel.
When did this become flatten the curve, flatten the curve, flatten the curve to we have to find a cure or everyone's going to die? Like Fauci. Seems like a nice enough dude. I've always been like, oh, no agenda. Looks like he could be maybe the grandfather in Wedding Crashers. Gets in front of the Senate. He's like, if we reopen the country too quick, everyone's dead. People have jobs who've worked their whole lives off to put food on the table, create a happy living. They're just going to go out of business? They're going to wake up whenever this thing ends, whenever the mayors say, oh, you can go back to work? Work to what? Your company's going to be out of business. The economy's going to be there's going to be no jobs. There's risk. We're Americans. You have to take risk. If people want to go out, they can go out. If they want to stay in, they stay in. We've done what you've said. You can't just midstream be like, just kidding. Flatten the curve, flatten the curve. Cure. What? We have no chance if you don't let people go outside. This country is going to be donezo. No one's going to have jobs. No one's going to have businesses. It's going to be done. It's over. Let me roll the dice and play with Corona, or at least give me the choice. That's all we want.
Dave's right. We flattened the curve. The deadliest day in America was over 3 weeks ago. There's hospital beds galore. We have 1 billion masks. More ventilators that we know what to do with. We're sending them to India. The plan was to lock it down and buy time. Well, we bought the time, and it cost us everything. And now they're saying, no, time's not up yet. Yeah, it is. You can't force us to commit economic suicide. We sacrificed everything to protect the sick and elderly, but now we can't protect ourselves? Americans are getting angry. Here's my man, Vic.
You told us to shut down non-essential businesses. You told us to go home and quarantine. You told us we have to keep social distance and stay inside. But you told us you would help. So where is the help? These checks are what they are. I mean, let's be serious. I'm not going to turn away $1,200 because, number one, if you're going to give it to me, I'm taking it. And number two, it's our money, not yours. It's ours. We paid that in taxes for everything we do every day. I'm not saying to wipe the slate clean. I'm saying to just add the missing mortgage payment to the back end of everyone's loans. Do it for everything. The car lease is now 3 months longer. The credit card payment is now 3 months longer. The mortgage payment is now 3 months longer. You want to help the American worker, you can eliminate all payments due until this is over. That way, unemployment and stimulus checks would only be needed for food. That is what the American family needs now. That would help us.
The $1,200 isn't going to cut it. That was supposed to last a month, which it wouldn't anyway. But now we're 2 months in, and governors are tacking on another month. States had already flattened the curve. This is easy math. Even I can do it. And if you try to survive, the government squeezes the life out of you. Politicians are telling people to snitch on small businesses just for opening up. The LA mayor's threatening to shut off the power and the water to small businesses who open up. Women are getting arrested for cutting hair. People are getting pulled over, fined for going to church, busted for being on a beach or a playground. Politicians are ordering police to do this. Seattle officer Greg Anderson has a message for those officers.
We need to start looking at ourselves as officers and thinking, is what I'm doing right? Now, I want to remind you that regardless of where you stand on the coronavirus, we don't have the authority to do those things to people just because a mayor or a governor tells you otherwise. These officers that are going out here and enforcing these tyrannical orders, what they're doing is they're making my job and my safety, or they're putting my job and my safety at risk. Because what you're doing is you're widening the gap between public trust and law enforcement officers. I'm afraid that these actions are going to wake a sleeping giant, i.e. the American people, okay? They are going to be put in a position where they won't have their rights trampled anymore.
Think about it. Our government rests on this principle. Ready? The consent of the governed. That's where our government gets its power. In March, we agreed to lock down. We didn't obey an order. We're not peasants. The government can't lock us down day after day after day. We don't consent. You can't trample our rights with no end in sight. We have rights that we get from above. And when the government destroys these rights, we have the right to change that government or abolish it. That's in the Declaration of Independence. Now, the American media should understand this freedom more than anyone, but they don't. The press loves the lockdowns. They attack protesters. They attack states that open. And when a brave business, the UFC, and their partner Endeavor put on a fight the other day, with testing, with sanitizing, and no crowd, the New York Times, of course, writes a hit piece. It reads, UFC's coronavirus plan is careful. Its enforcement has been spotty. And the story was filled with fake news, all negative. UFC President Dana White was asked about it.
There was an article in the New York Times today that was very critical of the execution.
That guy. That guy. This guy who, in this paper, covered the UFC when they'd never covered it before. What do you think happened? I don't give a what that guy thinks, what he has to say, or what he writes. Good for him. He's pulling good traffic.
Do you not worry about the
I don't give a
Fair enough.
Don't give a
Sorry for all the language tonight, but this is real. The country hates the media because the media hates the country. Watch what happened when a local news reporter covered a lockdown protest in Long Island.
You stopped airing the Trump briefings and you keep airing Cuomo briefings. Go home, you fake news.
You are the enemy of the people.
You are fake news.
You are the
enemy.
enemy.
We all know it. You are fake news. We know about your liberal agenda. We know you want to keep your job. We get it. You're not getting advertiser dollars in right now.
You're not going to answer, so you're just going to go live.
Yes, I am getting a paycheck.
I'm very happy, but other people are not getting paychecks, and they're not getting.
You used to be a good channel at one time.
You allow people.
I don't know what happened to you.
We want people to keep their hands to themselves. Stay clean, stay safe, do the distance thing if you can, and be polite, of course, because that makes your mom happy. But most of the country's had it. The media can't see this because they don't want to. But the government better take a close look at what's going on. That's it, okay?